Hello, welcome back to another episode of Standard Stories. I think we've been doing this now for 16 wonderful episodes, so it's really awesome to have you back. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you can be told when we upload. And speaking of uploading, my humblest apologies for last week missing. I had just got absolutely hammered with just a really bad headache completely out of nowhere last week, so I couldn't edit. And when I was up and ready to edit, if we would have uploaded too late, it would not have worked out very well. So we decided to just kind of give it a rest, let me recover properly from being sick. And obviously Stacey works, so she can't really do the editing, and that's not really her thing. She doesn't like doing it. So she does all the wonderful thumbnails you guys see. But anyways, let's get straight into it. So last week we went on a trip. So last week we went to a place called Caramelo Peralta.
Caramelo Peralta, yeah.
Caramelo Peralta. It is like
bordering with Brazil.
Yeah, it's bordering Brazil. It's like across the river. So you cross the river, you're in Brazil, and that's pretty cool. So we headed out there. It is not a long trip now that there's a tar road. So many years ago, many years before we met and before we went there, the colonies here, the Mennonite colonies, bought land and then they sell it back to the members of the colony, so the Mennonites. And so back then the land was super cheap because it was really inconvenient.
It was like 8 hours or something.
Yeah, they were telling us, our friends invited us, by the way, like we're not super rich, fancy people who can just go and pay for weekends away. Our friends have a place out there and they were like, oh, you should come with, and it was really cool and we really enjoyed it. So they told us it used to take them 8 hours to get there because it was all dirt road, and if it rained it took even longer because you couldn't go faster than maybe 20 or 30 kilometers an hour. So now it takes 2.5 hours. So you can imagine, so back then the land was very cheap, so a lot of people bought up. They were part of the group that were very fortunate to buy early when the land was quite affordable, and they're busy building out there a place. And so we went there, had a blast. On the way, our tire blew out.
No, first we had the dirt road, the muddy roads, right?
Yeah, so you will remember, previous video, many weeks ago, we had wacky weather. Wacky weather continued. We had lots of rain, kind of those few weeks.
It was like drizzling rain, so it makes the roads very like muddy and slippery.
The soil here has got a lot of clay in it, so that light rain kind of just makes it flat clay surface. So as you can see in these clips, it was quite a slippery ride. Right? You can't, I don't know if you can see it very well in these clips, but the car was sliding. We were going maybe 20 or 30, maybe 40 kilometers an hour, a lot of it. And we were just kind of slipping and sliding all the way to get to the tar road again. So if you remember,
and then all the way the wheel was like buffering. I don't know what to call
so if you remember from our town tour, the road that goes past the stores where Stacey works and stuff, we had to go down that road to get to the tar road. I explained, I think, that it's that way. So basically that whole way was just mud. And there's some, not sharp turns, but like those gentle bends. But when they're muddy, those gentle bends feel like 90-degree turns. So first it was that. We had to get through that. Then we saw a stork's nest, which was quite cool. So there was a huge stork's nest.
It was a bit far away, but we tried to.
Yeah, we've got some video footage. We kind of stopped and we backed up. And so there's a picture or a video of a stork's nest for you. And then our tire blew out. So we were driving and like everything was going fine, and then suddenly you just kind of hear doof, 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 and you can feel the car.
The tire was gone.
And the tire had gone. We don't fully know what it was. We think it might have just been a nail that deflated. And then if you look at these pictures, because we had to drive a little bit on the flat tire, it kind of shredded it. Luckily we had a spare, so we changed it, got back on the road, no problems. That was the trip out there for us. And so Stacey, she's going to tell you a little bit about what we did. Being so close to Brazil was really exciting, and take it away.
Yeah, it was also the first time for me to be in Caramelo Peralta. I've heard about the place, and there's always the both sides of the story, right? So there's the good and the bad. But we really had a really good weekend. It was just relaxing. Like, obviously we got up early in the morning because we wanted to see the sunrise. So my friend and I and Jonah, we went and we had mate on the river, and we're just like enjoying a beautiful view. And then
we saw the sunrise, which is really cool. So we have like video of that, like a time lapse.
Yeah, just
couldn't really see the sun rise through the clouds, but you can see it go from dark to light.
I think the most exciting part was seeing mountains, because that's like really rare. So my friend was like, when we were driving there, she's like, "We're almost there," and I'm like, "How do you know?" And she's like, "There's mountains." That's how you know. Or hills, I guess you would call them in South Africa. So yeah, it was very nice. We had a very nice braai for dinner, and yeah, it was just a very good time catching up with my friends and also with her parents. And then what else were we doing? Oh, on Sunday, this was on Saturday, and on Sunday, after watching the sunrise, we had a super big breakfast with toasted sandwiches and I don't know what. And then we went to sit again at the river. There's like a nice soup, and we were just sitting there drinking tereré. And then we wanted to go for our exciting boat ride across the river to Brazil to have ice cream. Yeah. And we were told, or in the past, my friend was told that it would open at 12 lunchtime. So we're sitting there anxiously waiting for 12 o'clock, right? Not realizing that crossing the river means we're crossing time zones, which meant we would be put back an hour. I don't know if it was more than an hour, but when we got there, so we took these taxi boats, and we were told, no, we can only be 3 in one boat, we can't be more. On the way back, the guy took us all in. Like
I think it might have been a different boat.
Yeah.
Or the other two guys just wanted to make some money.
Yeah. It wasn't that much though. Like it wasn't too expensive. And it took like 5 minutes, not even, like 3 minutes.
To cross into another country.
Yeah, and there was no control check. There was no like, only when you get deeper into Brazil, they would check your ID and those kind of things. But here it was like you just cross and it's like no big deal. Then we get to Brazil, and yeah, I think it was like dead quiet because a party had happened the previous night, so it was like no one up and going. Everything was closed, and we did not get ice cream, but we'll come back for that sometime.
Yeah. So that was kind of the major thing that we did while we were there. There's also a small town there that we explored a little bit because we had to go and get a new tire before we drove back. And sorry, you might see me make funny movements. The piranha is back. And unfortunately, he's very big and doesn't realize how hard he bites when he chews on arms and hands and legs. So, yes. So we went into town. We also did get some groceries for dinner the first night. And then we had to head home. Home, not much happened on the road.
Yeah, bumping the camera.
Yeah. So yeah, not much happened on the road home. But what we did have was we came back and it had still been raining, I guess, the whole day that we were there. So the roads were even more slippery now. And we're back. Sorry, there was a really loud noise.
Commotion at the neighbor's place.
The whole truck did a backflip. So where was I? So the roads were even worse when we came back.
Oh, yeah.
So at one point we went completely, so we were driving this way, and then at one point we went completely that way and just kind of drove a little bit like that, and then managed to get the car back thanks to very good driving. Not mine, by the way. Thankfully, our friend is a very good driver. Thank you very much if you are watching too. He speaks English, so hopefully you're watching this to help your English. We appreciate you. So that was the trip back. It was just a really good weekend with friends, seeing the sunrise, crossing international borders just for ice cream because we could, and hopefully someday we'll get to do that.
Ice cream.
Yeah, it was a really nice little town, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, so I have I think you would have seen a few shots of it. Very beautiful little town. They get a lot of tourists from Paraguay that cross over that side, and I think particularly a lot of Mennonites now because of the property that they have there in Caramelo Peralta. And then this week, not as eventful, because it's just started.
Hi, how are you?
So this week I helped her dad with what they call AFSA, which is kind of it's government mandated vaccines for the cows. So they have to come, and once a year you have to do every cow on your property. So it actually wasn't the time for this area, but her dad he wants to sell some, so they kind of made a plan. They were doing some of the bigger ranches in the area, so they made a plan to come here to do his just today. So I was there the whole day. It was great. A lot of hard work. We had 5 herds, all of which, as I've said in every video that involves injecting cows, hate the vrat. I had one actually nearly completely run over me. He missed me by, my father-in-law says less than half a meter. I was saying a meter to half a meter away from running over me, and my father-in-law says it was much closer than that. So very fortunate he didn't hit me, and we eventually got him in where he needed to be. And then it was just a lot of there were a few close calls with cows backing up, and you're very nervous that they're going to kick while you're closing a gate, because you have to kind of...
I'm always afraid of that, so if I can skip, I skip.
Yeah, at some parts you kind of have to push them with the gate.
Yeah.
And it's not like a solid gate. So if they kick and their leg comes through the gate, it could hit you quite easily. Stacy's dad actually, while he was closing the gate, they backed up. They got a fright from us who were working up at the top. And he was trying to hook the gate so that we don't have to stand there and hold, because you're not going to hold 2,000 kilograms of beef if they all decide they're coming back now. So as he was hooking, they got a fright, they bumped the gate, and it knocked him on the head. He was fine. Farmers, they're indestructible, indestructible breed, so he was fine. We carried on, and that was the day today. So I was extremely tired, because out in the sun, I didn't have my long sleeve on or my buff. I had a cap, and then before that, I was helping Charlie to put a new fence up. So that's been our last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and also I spent a morning with my sister in town. She had to go and do some stuff in town, and she had to go on her own. And she was like, I don't like going on my own. So I was like, you know what? Spending time with my sister, why not? So I took leave and I just went with her, which was amazing. Very good quality time with my sister. Also got to get some stuff done in town. Because when you go to town, you do everything in one go.
Town is far away and it's a lot of fuel. So when you have a reason to go to town, you do everything.
Yeah.
That's been the weeks. Thank you very, very much for joining us. We appreciate you for coming in. And once again, like, subscribe, turn your notifications. Have an amazing week, and we will see you next week. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.